Hello everyone, good to see you all. If you can hear me and see me okay, let me know because I'm always trying to make sure that everything is working correctly. Okay, so let's mute that, go to my channel, because I need to go to my channel to see your guys' comments. So there we go. And lower the volume, because there's ads, of course. Alright, so who do we got here? We got Max. Hello, Max. Hello, Moonzer. Hello, Finesse. QE2 Fan. Kevin. Ozzy. TJ. Goofy Rules. We got Mark. King of Battleships. Ron. Let's see, there's another Mark. Okay, and then who else okay, so yeah, good to see you all, folks. Sorry, I intended to do a tea time late last week, like Friday, maybe even Saturday, but it turned out I was just too busy to do it, because I was trying to get that Wellington avalanche video out, the newest video that's currently on my channel. So I was just so busy with that, but the good news is that that video is out, so I got some more exciting videos coming out this month. Some of them to do with the Queen Mary, some of them to do with another ocean liner. So it's gonna be pretty fun. And I'm trying to think if I have another video planned for the month. I'm sure I do, it just isn't coming to me right now. But I got some cool announcements to make later on. So let us start with, I need a plastic cup for this water. Okay, I will be right back. I have to go grab a cup for holding the extra water. Be right back. Alright, I am back. Had to run across the apartment. Okay, so I'm going to pre-warm the teapot and teacup. By the way, today I'm having a new tea. Last time I did a live stream, someone had recommended to me to try something called Yorkshire Gold. And so I was kind of like, that sounds interesting. So I ended up buying some Yorkshire Gold, and I'm going to be having it for the first time today. Let's see. So to pre-warm these vessels, I just empty them halfway and then top them back off with boiling water so as not to shock the china and make it crack. So top that off, then we wait for a minute or two for the temperature to even out. Okay, so yeah, Yorkshire Gold today. Let's see, who we got on the chat? Anybody asking me questions? People say they can hear me fine. Awesome. Goofy Roll says, fair winds and following seas, Alex. Awesome. Tyler says, Moonzer, I love that book. Moonzer must have mentioned a book earlier. Let's see. I don't see which book. But must have been a private conversation. Okay, oh, TJ says, I'm glad you're around now because I saw something that gave me a question about the Queen Mary. Well, go ahead and ask. I'll see if I can answer it. Okay. So yeah, so for snack, something to eat, I have here chocolate covered Tbsps. They're McVitie's digestives. And then there are these Scottish shortbread. which I love. Those are so good. And then I've still got more of my holiday mince pie. It's a fruit mince pie. And I better separate it from the bottom because otherwise it will be very difficult to eat the aluminum. Oh no, I broke it. Okay. Boy, this one doesn't want to come out of its shell. Usually they just pop right out. There we go. That was weird. Oh, man. I'll have to pick that up later. I'm afraid I'm going to crush it into the carpet. But, alright, so, let's see. TJ says, so any concerns about the Apocalypse Festival 2023 being held at the Queen Mary, and have they done a big EDM event there before? Oh, that is outside my scope of knowledge. I thought you were going to ask a history question. I don't know anything about the festivals that they do there. I know the stuff that they've done in the past, but I don't keep up with what they're doing right now, nor what effects it will have on the ship. But I mean, I'm here for you if you have a history question. But yeah, I don't know. Alright, so yeah, I think my friend Chris will probably either go to the Queen Mary either later this month or early next month. Oh, there is a new Queen Mary announcement, though, which is that December 3rd will be the return of the Sunday brunch. That's a very popular thing that used to happen on the Queen Mary, was the all-you-can-eat Sunday brunch, and it's coming back December 3rd. And it's here to stay from what I heard, so that's really good because I know some people that were really hoping for it to come back. Okay, so I emptied that out. Now I fill it with boiling water all the way. There's something loud happening outside. It sounds like power washing. Alright, so this Yorkshire Gold brews for the same amount of time and everything that I do for everything else. So let's see, 118 now. So it'll be ready 123, just about. Put the lid on that. TJ says, like dance events. Don't get me wrong, and I love the Queen Mary, so I want to see them coexist, but I see how delicate the ship is. So there's a big EDM event coming up 24th, 25th this month as an FYI. Is EDM electronic dance music? Is that what that means? See, the thing is, like, it's like you're speaking a different language. Like, I have no idea what any of this is, what it's, you know, where exactly it's being held. Some events are held on the ship. Some events are held off the ship on the shore. So I don't really know anything about this event or how it will affect the Queen Mary. Some people, I mean, when you say the ship is fragile, or not fragile, but delicate, it depends on what they're doing. You know, like if they're going to be building structures inside specifically for the event, okay, I can see some issues happening. Is the event going to be filled with tens of thousands of people, all of them on promenade deck? That could be an issue I can foresee because the ship is getting old. Getting old, it's been old. But if it's, you know, if it's outside the ship and it's a bunch of people, I don't see it being a problem any more than the Halloween event was, which, you know, some people will say it was very troublesome for the ship. Some people will say it wasn't so bad. But yeah, I can't really... Yeah, say a huge dance festival, but I don't know if it's on the ship or off the ship, how many people are attending, you know, what kind of setup they're doing. I don't know anything. So I don't really know how to answer that question, unfortunately. But Ozzy says, awesome video, Alex. Thank you so much. Yeah, so what was I going to say? So yeah, just to let everybody know that I started a TikTok. Now, I usually am not really into social media. Sure, I do YouTube, but I'm not really that active on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram and TikTok, all that sort of stuff, especially not Twitch. I'm not that kind of person. I'd rather read a book than than do anything on there. But as it turns out, in the world that we live in, you can go on TikTok and completely impersonate someone that is not you and pretend to be them, post all their videos and content without their permission, illegally, I might add. So that's going to have its own implications. But yeah, so you can do all that stuff, and other people can report it. You can have hundreds of people report it to TikTok, and TikTok will just say, "Oh, not doing anything about it." So yeah, so I will be working on building my audience outside of YouTube. Not something I really wish to do, but it wouldn't be as hard as I originally thought it would be. Because basically what I'm doing is I'm going to be taking a lot of the videos that I already have on YouTube and copying them over to TikTok and making it available on that platform as well. So that way people who are on TikTok can learn about the amazing Queen Mary and other such historic places and features. Again, it's not something I'm really into. It's not like I'm volunteering myself to do this. I feel like I've been kind of forced into doing it simply because someone else is just impersonating me. And the thing is you can tell everybody on TikTok, oh, this person's not me, but they really don't care. They're just there for the content. It doesn't matter if you're, robbing people, breaking into their houses and hurting them. It doesn't matter. People just want to see the content. So that's the world we live in, unfortunately. Now, I could sit around and cry about it, or I can just go and start my own channel and do something about it, and just make my own content. So just to let everybody know, my TikTok is alex.the.historian.real. So keyword, that's the fourth word, real, at the end, because the person took my name, alex.the.historian. So alex.the.historian. So he took my name. And yeah, so, but that's okay. I've got a real account. So that is my TikTok for those of you who want to join. The links to my social media are in the description below. Not necessarily links, but they're, my tags and everything for social media down below, so that way you can find it, you know how to support me. Today I have already posted 3 videos on TikTok, and I'll be posting a lot more every single week, just transferring a lot of the stuff I already have on YouTube all the way over to TikTok. So yeah, and we'll just we'll just rattle the little thief. Anyway, yeah. The thing is I've always been very supportive of people who want to start their own channels, who want to talk about stuff. I mean, some of the most recent people was, there's a person who watches my channel that goes by Brocky, and he really wanted to make his own content that was like Queen Mary related, and I've been very supportive of all of that. I'm always happy. And when someone says, hey Alex, you've got footage of Disneyland or footage of the Queen Mary that I'd really like to use, can I use it? I always say yes. I always say yes, because first of all, it's nice that they're asking. But I'm very supportive of people who want to start their own channels, who want to, teach people about history. But when you go and just directly take all my content, just straight up, without even cutting it up and, editing things out and removing segments, just completely taking it over and then pretending to be me, all just to satisfy your weak ego, it doesn't fly with me. And so, yeah, it will have legal implications, There will be consequences legally for that. So, Unfortunately, yeah. But that's the world we live in today, folks. Just to let you know. Okay, so it is time for this tea. And we'll give that a quick stir, so that way it goes in there. Again, this is Yorkshire Gold. I was recommended this one to me. And it smells quite good, actually. Okay, and then place that there. But yeah, other than the nastiness out of the way, I actually do have some positive things happening. Where'd the chat go? There we are. Mark says, I saw a Queen Mary guided tour on YouTube. Question came whether Queen Mary is haunted. Sigh. Guide said opinion varies and make up your own mind, which is refreshing. I hope the ghost thing is tamed down going forward. I hope so too. You know, like, the ship just has such an amazing history and such a, an amazing story. And I feel like if that was just highlighted more and people just stopped trying to give all the attention to the ghost stuff, I feel like that would really help the ship out. But yeah, so hopefully. I do know that there is a director of... What was it? Director of... I don't know. Director of something for the company that was talking about how they're no longer going to be allowing these free roaming, paranormal investigators just to run around and bother the hotel guests and stuff like that. So that's what they said a long time ago. So we'll see if they enforce that, because as it turns out, there are a lot of those paranormal investigators coming back to the ship now that they know it's open again, and and they need that revenue stream. So they're all coming back. Chris says, also, Alex, AI within see, YouTube puts this big heart in the corner, so I can't see what that says. I think it says within the next year or so. They say that AI could make full-blown looking, I think that says looking, movies. YouTube has that thing in the corner, and I can't get rid of it. They can. The AI will be able to start making movies and stuff. I have friends right now are working on just something for fun that is related to World War II. I can't be specific because I think they're still working on it, but yeah, and it's entirely done by AI, and it's just meant for fun. It's not meant to deceive people necessarily. But the thing is that AI is getting to the point where that can happen. And it's a bit freaky, because then I start to wonder what's going to happen to people like me who make YouTube content, and it takes me forever to make each video. But then AI can come along and just make something more exciting. But at least for the time being, yeah, Chris, yeah, full-blown movies and film, yeah. But at least for the time being, when it comes to at least YouTube videos, I think it'll be a bit longer for AI to be affordable enough and widely available enough for people in YouTube to make their own AI stuff. Well, at least, oh, I'm gonna go online for free and make a whole YouTube video using only AI. It's being done right now, but only by those who can afford to pay for the service, and it's not widely available to everyone. So, but I think it will be eventually. So I have a little bit more time until then. But, I do wonder, because I love what I do here on YouTube. I talk about the subjects I like. I show people all the things that I love about ships and steam power and all that kind of stuff. You know, and so I want to keep doing it. I like it. You know, it's got its frustrating moments, but overall, it does leave me very just satisfied and content with life, you know. So I hope that AI doesn't make that difficult for me to continue doing, you know. So I do worry about that. Hey Leo, how's it going? Peter says, will you be creating any short form content specifically for TikTok, or will it be clips from longer videos? I'm curious how much of your audience overlaps with the general TikTok demographic. I don't think my personal audience overlaps very much with the TikTok demographic, because when I look at my analytics for my videos, the wide majority of my viewers are 65 plus years old, and then next up to that is people between 45 and 65, and then after that people 35 to 45, and then it just goes down from there. So generally my audience is older. Sorry guys, but my audience is older. And I don't think, I mean, this is probably just my personal opinion and probably not based on fact, but my personal opinion is I don't think older folks are on TikTok as much, simply because they require something more with their entertainment. But that being said, TikTok is catching up, because at one point it used to be that you couldn't post a video longer than a minute. Then it became longer than 2 minutes or something like that. And now it's, you can post 10-minute long videos. And so the longer form content is actually becoming more popular on TikTok. So it could be catching up very soon. But as for your first question of whether I'll be posting specific short form content, I think occasionally I will post a video that is specifically made for TikTok. But the majority of it will be either whole videos from my channel that are cut up and then posted on TikTok, or it will be the most important sections of, like, I posted one today that was literally the last chapter of my video called Queen Mary at War. The last chapter of that, which I called The Legacy of a Queen. It's 4 minutes long, and it's just the last 4 minutes of the video, but it happens to be a really good 4 minutes because it summarizes the whole video, and then it ends with the future of the Queen Mary. And so I was able to take that 4 minutes, cut it down to just that section, and then kind of, you know, tidy it up and make it look nice for TikTok, and then post it. And so so that is also a third option, is just taking one segment from a video if it you know, describes the whole video very well. So yeah, I think there'll be a combination of things. Because I can't dedicate all my time to TikTok. I'm so busy with YouTube. It already takes up most of the time of the day. So that's the whole reason also why I don't post videos on Facebook or anything else, is just I don't have the time. But it looks like I'm going to have the time because of this thief. But that's okay. Ooh, wow, that is nice. That is Yorkshire Gold. First time having it. That is nice. It's bitter, for sure. I heard rumor that Yorkshire Gold is one of the more bitter black teas. But that is actually still very delicious. So I like that one. And I'm going to dunk one of these shortbreads in there. Oh wow, okay, there we go. Ron says, Alex, I have the Atlas die-cast Queen Mary ocean liner coming next week. You should check them out, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah, I've seen them. I don't know that I can afford them, though. That's the thing. Leo Ship says, I'm quite a young person and I watch every video you post. That's strange. Yeah, you know, I do have a lot of young people who are under the age of 18 who watch my stuff. But yeah, there isn't as many of them as there are the 65 plus age group. I think that kind of reflects what people's interests are today, because the people who tend to be interested in history tend to be older. I wonder if, people who might not be interested in history today, when they get older, I wonder if they will be. Because, people change as they get old. Most people do. Some people don't. But most people change when they get older. Their thought processes, their attention span, everything slows down. And they have more time and more focus on other things that maybe when they were younger, they didn't have interests in. And so I wonder if people today who are not interested in history might one day be interested in it. And maybe that's how things go. But I don't know. Because I know a lot of folks today they tell me, oh, well, Alex, the younger generations don't like history. And I'm like, that's true, but isn't that true for almost every generation? When they were young, they weren't interested in it. They were interested in what's happening right now, as opposed to what happened in the past. So I wonder things about that. My brain's always kind of thinking about that stuff. Moonzer says, Alex, did you know that Queen Elizabeth had an Austen Reed on M deck? No, but it doesn't surprise me, because Queen Mary had an Austen Reed on M deck as well. Leo Ship Design says, speaking of short form content, I loved that Christmas aboard the Queen Mary. Oh yeah, my video Christmas on the Queen Mary. I like that one. That one didn't get as many views as I thought it would, but it's interesting. I try to post holiday-themed content. So I think actually when I get done with the live stream, I'm going to adjust the front page of my channel to show my holiday-themed videos, which aren't that many. Mark says, yes, Alex, we are more mature, which is why we follow you. We need substance and genuine integrity. I don't have TikTok, Insta, whatever, or similar. Yeah, I didn't until recently. I was content to go the rest of my life without a TikTok account. I was like, I don't need it. I'm good. But, yeah. But there is something interesting. I can't reveal too much just yet, but I think it's possible in the coming weeks I can reveal what I'm going to be doing. So I have a personal project I'm working on. It's not costing me any money, by the way. But it is perfectly free, and it'll be free for all of you guys to see. But it's not a video. It is a project entirely separate from the channel, but it has to do with the Queen Mary. And I think you guys will love it. It'll be available online for everybody to see for free. And I'll just put it this way. What it is not necessarily for entertainment. It's really more for education. But it might, if you like reading about stuff, you like education, you'll like this. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome. And I haven't even told my friends about it yet, because I'm waiting for the right moment till I'm waiting to complete a certain amount of it, so that way I can show it to my friends and maybe get them excited to work on it as well. So yeah, it's going to be really cool. So that's a kind of a teaser announcement for what's coming up, which I am so excited for. Because I've been wanting to do something outside of YouTube, that is related to the Queen Mary, so this will be pretty fun. And I was lucky that I was able to work on it for free. A lot of times people work on these kinds of things and it costs them money. I'm like, I don't have money. So yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Mark. That's so nice of you to say. Oh, and you're gonna join TikTok. That'd be cool. Yeah, I have the links posted everywhere now, so you can go to like the about page of my YouTube channel, and you'll see my social media links and everything, or just at the description of this video. Moonzer. I don't, gosh, I don't want to reveal too much, but because you talk about books, and I'm like, I'm doing something. No, I can't say what it is. I can't say what it is. But yeah. King of Battleship says, why did Long Beach not run the turbo generators when they received the ship? Because it wasn't necessary. First of all, the ship was about to be decommissioned, or whatever you call it for an ocean liner. I think it's called decommissioning. So the thing is that the ship was going to go immediately to dry dock and have a whole bunch of stuff removed. There was no need for it to run the turbo generators. Literally, no need. There were, people weren't. It wasn't going to be open publicly for anybody. There was no need to have the turbo generators running. And their original plan was to, the whole reason why they bought the Queen Mary in the first place was because they wanted to build a Jacques Cousteau Museum of the Sea, but they realized that it was cheaper to build the museum inside the Queen Mary than to build it on the shore side by downtown. It was just too expensive to build it there. So they thought, you know what, let's build it on the Queen Mary because it's a lot cheaper to do that. And so they planned out where they needed the museum to go, and they had planned to use up all of the propulsion plant and power plant systems of the ship, that whole area beneath F deck. Yeah, that's F deck. Yeah, everything beneath F deck was going to be, entirely dedicated to the Museum of the Sea. So I ended up ripping everything out, or most of everything. And then it wasn't until after they ripped everything out that they realized they didn't have enough money to complete the museum, and they didn't need to rip all that stuff out in the first place. They only needed a few. I think 2 or 3 rooms needed to be ripped out, but not everything. So, the damage was already done, everything was already scrapped, and, that kind of thing by then, so. John C. says, I was wondering if you would do 3D printing on your train layout. I thought about it, but I don't want to. I want to make everything myself. I just feel like it looks more organic that way. I even thought about plastic kits for building things, but as realistic as you can paint plastic to look real, it just doesn't feel or look real. And so I really wanted to make everything myself. So, but as a result, it takes a long time to build the train layout. And train layouts are one of those things that you work on them your whole life, Only people who have a lot of spare time are able to complete it in a short period of time. So I haven't even been able to even touch the train layout in a couple of months. Like, it's just been sitting there the last couple of months because I've been so busy with my channel. And the other thing, too, is you know, everybody knows I want to do my UK trip, and I was looking at my GoFundMe page. I have a GoFundMe for people who donate to the channel regardless. I told them, hey, if you're donating, like, feel free to send it here instead so I can help pay for my UK trip. But I was looking at the GoFundMe. I'm like, it's a year and a half old. I'm like, let's just get this done. Let's, you know. So I'm like saving up my own money as fast as I possibly can, because I am like dead set on going on my trip in 2024. Like, I don't want to wait till 2025 or whenever. Like, I want to go 2024 because I can't. I'm too excited. I don't want to wait. So yeah. What point was I making? So yeah, instead of spending money on the train layout and spending time on the train layout, I've been spending my time on YouTube trying to build the audience, you know, earn more ad revenue so I can put that money towards the UK trip. This month I am now 1/3 the way towards my goal. So the goal is to save up $9,000. And so I'm just a little over 1/3 the way there. And, but when I get to the $8,000 mark, that's when I'm going to start booking everything. Because, you know, it's all going to be booked, you know, 6 to 8 months in advance. And, I'm sure I can save up $1,000 in 6 to 8 months. That shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah, so that is kind of, you know, the goal. So yeah, 2024, that is, I am dead set on it, because I think everybody is also just as excited as I am. They want to see the videos, they want to see all the new content that's going to come out from that, and they've been waiting a while for it just as much as I have. So yeah, I am going to be working hard on that. But that being said, I am still considering putting train content on my old train channel. I had an old train channel called Alex the Railroader, and I had started putting train content on this channel, and I did get more views on this channel with the train content, but I don't have the audience for it. My audience is here mainly to see Queen Mary content. And even that, I'm trying to expand that audience to be more than just Queen Mary people. But it seems no matter what I do, they just want to see Queen Mary. So, yeah, but the model railroad content, I'm like, it's I don't have the audience for it here on this channel. So thinking about moving it to my old channel, starting up the old channel again, and possibly my third channel, because I do have a third one that I kind of was doing on and off, and then I just quit. That third channel, I'm thinking about reviving that for various other vlogs being video logs like diaries, but those vlogs being like travel vlogs and information, like, oh, like what, like how to, you know, like what are the best things for you to do, or things not to miss on, you know, Cunard, Queen Mary 2 or whatever, you know. But then there will be vlogs on this channel too of the adventure itself. So every time I go to a historic place or whatever, I'll vlog about it and then post a video on this channel when it comes to history. But when it comes to just travel in general, I'm thinking about putting it on the third channel. So I'm trying to expand the audience, and then try to, you know, because the audience wants to have a separate channel for everything. Even though they don't say they do, it's showing in the numbers that they're not here for everything. They're here for one specific thing. So I'm doing what I can. It's confusing. It's really confusing. But let's see. Here we go. Leo says, I've got a genuine question about the synagogue. Which deck was it located on the Queen Mary? It was located on B deck, forward of the ship, just right next to the third class staircase. And so if you're over by the infamous haunted B340 room, it's literally just steps away from B340. So, Chris says, "Hey Alex, I'm getting kind of excited about the dry docking of Battleship New Jersey." Oh, nice. I didn't know that was going to be dry docked. Chris again says, "Hey Alex, I'm rooting for your trip to the UK and Europe." Yeah, it was pretty cool. Someone who lives in Scotland reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, I heard about your UK trip and, do you need any advice or whatever for visiting Scotland?" So I was like, yes. I was like, I have a lot of questions, folks. If you're from the UK and you know a lot about London, Bristol, Edinburgh, Portsmouth, Southampton, I've got questions galore. Got a lot of questions because I'm the kind of person where I'm not spontaneous at all. I like to pre-plan everything to the T, especially because if this is my one and only time to ever go to the UK and Europe, which I hope it's not, but if it is, I don't want to miss anything, especially because this trip specifically is for YouTube content and not just for fun. So, although it will be fun. But yeah, I was talking to Chris the other day. I was putting together a calendar and everything because the whole trip will be a month long. So I was putting together a calendar of each day and what we're going to do each day and itineraries. I even planned out a walking path. So that's how crazy I am. I planned out a walking path. Let's say when we go to London, I pre-planned out a walking path that goes from Hyde Park to Buckingham Palace to a few other places in the local area that are important for me to see, all the way to the Thames, and then all the way to Tower Bridge, which is quite a long distance from Hyde Park. But that's how crazy I am. And I think it's got 22 things on that route. 22 things that I want to stop and film and experience. And I may not get to every one of them, but that's the goal. So yeah, I planned out these walking routes through Edinburgh, through London, through Bristol, and then I still have to make ones for Paris. And then we even have a plan to visit a medieval city in France called, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Mont Saint-Michel. It's a very famous place. You've probably seen it somewhere, if you don't even remember it, but you've probably seen it somewhere. Beautiful medieval city located on a giant rock in the middle of the beach. It's so cool. And so we have plans to visit that. Gosh, so much stuff that we're going to see. When we go to Bristol, we're going to see the SS Great Britain. We're going to see the I keep forgetting the name of the bridge. The bridge built by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. It's right there by Bristol. Then there's also a bar that has the wood paneling and fittings from the original RMS Mauritania's lounge. And so I want to see that place if it's open when we go there. Because I heard it's changed hands a lot of times in the last couple of years. So there's that. We go to Edinburgh. I definitely want to see Edinburgh Castle. There's a few places on the streets of Old Town that I really want to see. Especially, I want to go to Royal Yacht Britannia. That's going to be literally the first thing we go to see when we get there, is Royal Yacht Britannia. I want to tour the whole thing, video as much of it as I possibly can, get good photographs and good shots of it, all in high quality 4K, everything. I'm going to be spending a fortune in memory cards for my cameras. So, gosh, yeah, just so much stuff. And there's one place in Edinburgh that I really want to see, but it's low priority, and I don't even think I'll have time to go there. But there's a place in Edinburgh called Dean Village, and there is a creek or a river that flows right beside it, so it looks like a medieval village, and there's beautiful bridges that go over this creek, and it's just cool for photographs and, you know, B-roll footage for future videos and stuff like that. I really want to go there, but I don't think I will have time, because everything else, like, you know, between Royal Yacht Britannia and Edinburgh Castle, that'll fill up the entire day, and then plus there's other things to see. Like, I really want to see, I think it's called the Real St. Mary's Close, and it's like an underground street, essentially, which it sounds so cool. I love underground cities and stuff. It's so neat. And then Paris, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff I want to see in Paris. I especially want to see the catacombs, if it's possible. I'm sure somebody does tours of the catacombs. But yeah, there's just so many things to see when we go to Europe. And hopefully it's not my last visit, because my dad really wants to go, but I don't think we'll be able to take him on this trip. So hopefully I can return again with my father, and we can take it slower on that trip, because I don't think he can walk all the distances that me and my friends are going to walk. So yeah, but I think if I do end up going back to the UK and Europe, I'm going to take it slower and enjoy more stuff. So let's see. John says, maybe share your videos in community tab from your small channel. Oh yeah, definitely. Let me get back to some of the comments here, because I let it go for a while. SP says, I'm here for general history. Love the one you did on New Orleans. Yeah, I want to do more New Orleans videos. I actually would have done them sooner, but I've been waiting to go to New Orleans. I had this idea in my head that while I saved up for the UK trip, that I was going to take a trip to New Orleans first. But it turns out I don't have money to save up for both at the same time, so I have to do the UK trip first. That's one everyone's waiting for. And then after the UK trip, I will go to New Orleans and film more footage so I can make a lot more videos about the historic stuff about New Orleans. But until then, I think I can make 1 or 2 more New Orleans videos without getting my own footage. So, but the footage is really important. I can't even express how key getting footage is, because if I have my own videos that I filmed myself, I can produce videos faster, because all I have to do is draw from the stuff I already got. But when I make videos and I don't have my own footage, I don't have my own photos, I have to go out and look for it, and that can take weeks. And, you know, I have to get permission from people who own the stuff to use it, so I have to contact them. And this is another reason why I don't like this impostor who's, like, impersonating me on TikTok, because he's just taking my content and posting it. But I had to do all the hard work and, like, contact people and be like, hey, can I use your photo? Hey, can I use your video? You know, and wait for their responses. Sometimes they don't respond at all. You know, so it's like I have to go out there, do all the research, do all the work, write the whole thing myself, narrate it myself, edit it myself, and then post it to YouTube. And oh gosh, yeah, a lot of work. But King of Battleships says, Alex, you and Steve should do a stream and discuss what parts of the Queen Mary should be restored. I feel like we did, but I'll review it and see if there's something I could do or add or something like that. But if not, I think that's a good idea for a video and not really a stream. So I think that might be something I could do for a video. Which I will be having a Queen Mary video coming out soon. It's not going to be the first thing that comes out next. It's going to be like after what comes out next. But it's going to be about the Art Deco and art of the Queen Mary. So it's going to be good. Yeah. It's going to be more like highlights. I'm not much of an art person, so I don't have much knowledge about the history of art. I will be doing some research for the video, but it's mainly going to be highlights, like things highlighting what's on the Queen Mary, how it got there, who made it, and and how it affects the space it's in, So let's see. Ryan Hines says, "Hey Alex, I'm going to Disneyland later this month. What rides do you usually hit first?" Well, I'm from a different time because now Disney does all this stuff with reservations and a really complex system of reservations and upcharges and stuff. I don't think most people who even go to the park now get to decide to ride their favorite ride first. I think a lot of times it's just based on the availability. So I don't know, but when I used to visit the park, my first ride was, well, when I was a kid, the first ride we ever did was Star Tours, but that was at the old Star Tours, not the new one. But when I used to go vlogging at the park, the first ride I ever hit was Disneyland Railroad, and it was the last ride I ever hit on the way out as well. So I just love Disneyland Railroad. But then afterwards, I would do other rides like I would go into Adventureland because it might not be the same thing today, but back then, Adventureland and New Orleans Square were not hit first. When the rope would drop, people would run to Space Mountain, to Matterhorn, to Star Tours, to Big Thunder, Splash sometimes, and then Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge, all that kind of stuff. But people would kind of skip over Adventureland and New Orleans Square. But again, that might be different. And they just reopened the Treehouse, which looks amazing, by the way. And so that might be popular right now. So yeah, I don't have any kind of up-to-date method that you could follow that would work. It would have to be entirely... I'd have to go there again and see how everything works. But Tom in President Line says, "Hello, Alex. Long time no see. Do you have any plans to do any research on ships of the Great Lakes? Because they are rarely ever covered on YouTube." I suppose the answer would be not really. I'm not that interested in the ships of the Great Lakes. The only one I've ever been interested in was the SS Keewatin. And even then, I need to get footage of it. And I don't have that. So I can't make a video about it without footage. Because all the photos that exist of it are really low quality photos. Just very terrible quality. And it's not something I can put on my channel. So I need to get footage of it. And I don't know when I'm ever going to go to visit it. Because there's nothing else for me to do in that area. I feel like if I'm going to travel a long distance, it's going to be to see a bunch of things. But yeah, I don't think so. I'm barely interested in ocean liners as it is. I know a lot of people have been like, "Oh, can you make a video about the Imperator? Can you make a video about all that?" And I try to tell people, like, this isn't just an ocean liner channel. Like, I do like certain ocean liners, but I don't like all of them, and I'm not interested in making videos about all of them. Nor am I interested in making videos about all of the different ships, even naval ships and stuff like that. It's just specific ships that I think are so cool that I just really want to highlight them. And there are more ship videos coming out, because there are ship videos that I want to make, but I just haven't made them yet. So, and one of them will be actually coming out hopefully this week. Hopefully. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Well, actually, I might get a Queen Mary video done this week because it can be done faster. Because I need more time to work on the other ship video, and I can't do it in 4 days. 4 days is not fast enough. And not long enough, I mean, yeah. So actually, I think by this Friday there will be a Queen Mary video out, and then next week will be a non-Queen Mary ship video. Yeah, I think that's how it's going to work. I'm gonna have some of this here. Fruit mince pie. Ron says the Queen Mary 2 was in dry docking as well. She needed some updates. I heard. I don't know what they've been doing though. That's the thing. I need to find that out. And I heard that the Queen Mary 2 will be coming out of dry dock soon. So I'm excited to see what changes have been made. Hopefully nothing too major, because I like the way the ship looks. I like everything about the ship right now. I don't think it needs any major changes. Moonja says, Alex, when you go on your UK trip, are you going to Clydebank? No, because Clydebank will be a couple of hours away by train or whatever. If they have a train, I'm sure they do. But it'll be a couple hours away, and I've only got 24 hours to spend in Scotland. And I really want to use the daylight hours to see Royal Yacht Britannia and to see Edinburgh Castle, and then everything else in Edinburgh is secondary to that. So I won't have time to go to Clydebank. And the only thing to see at Clydebank, honestly, I looked at it. The only thing for me to see at Clydebank is the old slipway and the old Titan crane that where Queen Mary was built. So, but that's it. There's nothing else for me to do in Clydebank. I looked, and so I there's no reason for me to go several hours out of the way to go see it, unfortunately. So yeah, I am satisfied with a photograph of Clydebank. So yeah, but if there was more stuff to do there, then that probably would have made it onto my list of places to visit. Another place I wanted to visit was Liverpool, but when I really looked at Liverpool, there were a few museums, but nothing I could make videos out of. So I was kind of like, okay, well, Liverpool would be cool to visit, but unfortunately, it wouldn't be good for making YouTube videos. So, yeah. Mark says, no, you're not crazy. I plan everything too. I was a travel agent for 13 years before I went back to uni to study engineering in 1996. A plan helps you maximize your bang for buck. Yeah, I always say that to people, and some people are just like, oh, I can't pre-plan everything out. I like to be spontaneous. And I'm like, when you're spontaneous, you're wasting money. I mean, this whole trip, a month long, let me add. You would think a month long abroad would cost you in the range of like $15,000 to $20,000. We're going to be getting it done for approximately $8,000. I'm allotting for $9,000 just in case something happens and I need that extra $1,000. You never know what happens. Someone, mugs you on the street, something like that. You're missing like a card or something. I don't know, but there's an extra $1,000 just in case something goes wrong. But ultimately, the trip will be $8,000. That is, and it sounds expensive at first. You're just like, whoa, wait, I could get a small car for $8,000. I don't know if you can actually. It's been a long time since I bought a car. But when you think about it, a whole month out of the United States And being an American citizen, everything costing so much more money than it would be if you were like Italian and traveling around Europe. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, so the point is that it's an incredible deal, $8,000 for being gone a month. So it's expensive. It's taken me forever. Taken me a year and a half to save up the money so far. It'll probably take me another couple of months to at least get the last bit saved up. But yeah, well worth it, I think. Well worth it. Sheridan says, are you doing videos when you travel through the UK? So I know that when I'm gone, away from, not gone, but when I'm away from home and I'm on the trip in the UK, I will need to have videos posting while I'm gone. Problem is that while I'm traveling, it will be difficult to get good Wi-Fi. I won't be able to get it on the ship because, you know, I'm traveling on the Queen Mary 2, from New York to Southampton, which takes 7 days, and then at the end of the trip, Southampton to New York, which takes another 7 days. So 2 weeks of the trip, I'm not going to be able to have good access to Wi-Fi. Their Wi-Fi on the ship is super expensive and not worth it because it's very slow. So I won't be able to upload videos while I'm on the ship. But if I do have very good Wi-Fi, let's say when I'm in my hotel room in Paris or when I'm, you know, in London or something, if I have really good Wi-Fi, I'll try to upload some videos, like some vlogs. But otherwise, I will create at least 4 videos, like history videos, that can be pre-scheduled to go live one each week. So, you know, because I usually try to post videos on Fridays if I can get to it. Sometimes I have to wait till Saturday, but my goal is that every Friday that I'm gone will be a video that will automatically post each Friday. And it won't necessarily be related to the trip, but if I can manage it, I will try to upload a video related to the trip while I'm on the trip. Another thing I have to be careful for is, you know, I've gotten death threats on my channel over silly things like the thumbnail I chose for my video. So I can't tell people when the trip is. I can't tell people like exactly where I am on what day or whatever. So I can't post a video and be like, oh, or, you know, I can't go live streaming either. That's the other thing too. Like if I'm in London and I have the ability to live stream, I may not do it because I don't want people to be like, oh, that's where he is. He's over by Winston Churchill's statue. And then like somebody goes over there and like punches me in the face because they hate the way I make my videos. I don't know. So I can't do that, but I do think that maybe once or twice, what I can do is right as I'm about to leave a location, I can do a live stream, a short one, you know, hang out with people online for like maybe 30 minutes, and then end the live stream and go to my next location so that people can't track where I am. I can't believe I even have to be stealthy, you know, like this is the world we live in, you know, like I have to be stealthy. And I can't just hang out with viewers, you know, because I've had people that go, oh, I'm from the UK. If you come to the UK, I want to hang out with you. I had so many amazing people who gave me such generous offers. Somebody said, oh, I have a spare room for you. Another person said, oh, I'll treat you to dinner, or I'll drive. One person said they'll drive me around Scotland. They're like, I'll cover it. I'll drive around Scotland. Such nice people, such wonderful people. But unfortunately, because of all the threats I get and all the people who hate me for some strange reason, I don't feel safe meeting up with strangers anymore, you know? So it's just sad. It's sad that things have to be that way, but this is the world that we live in. Chris says, hey Alex, one kind of crazy thing that I would like to do is to ride my bicycle to visit a few of my favorite YouTubers. I could probably easily do that. That's interesting. Just because I would ask them first if it's okay to meet up with them, because one time I'll tell you a story, everybody. One time I posted a vlog at Disneyland, and I accidentally had my receipt, and it had like my personal information on it. I had a receipt because I bought something, and the person tracked me down and figured out where I lived, and they just wanted to say hi. But anyway, I'm sitting at home and I'm like editing a video, and I get a knock on the front door, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. I go to the front door, and the person's like, hey, Alex, and I'm like, hi, do I know you? And they're like, oh, I'm just a viewer of your channel. I really love your channel. I'm subscribed to it. And I was like, trying to be nice, but I was a bit freaked out, because I was like, well, thank you, but how did you find out where I live? And they told me how they found out, and I was just like, I was a bit freaked out, because that's not something that people usually would do. So if you're gonna visit YouTubers, I would get their permission first. I would say, hey, can I meet up with you this place or that place, and stuff like that. Because if you ambush them at home, or you know where they're gonna be, and you suddenly ambush them there, it can be a bit freaky. But otherwise, yeah. Oh, but let me add a caveat to that, everybody. If I'm in the UK and you see me walking down the street, I'm going to be with my friend, but if you see me walking down the street and you just want to say hi, feel free to say hi. I'm okay with that, because I know that if you see me there, I know that you didn't know I was going to be there at that time. Because, like I said, I'm not going to be posting ahead of time where I'm going. I'm only going to tell people where I've been. So if you happen to see me on the street and you're like, oh my gosh, that's Alex, feel free to say hi. I will be totally happy and fine saying hello to you. So, and chit-chatting for a little bit. So, that's just the kind of person I am. But, yeah. K. Smith says, there was an event on the Queen Mary. Bruce Peter had a lecture on Cunard shipbuilding design. He's a professor at Glasgow School of Arts. I recorded it on my voice recorder if anyone wants to hear it. Oh, interesting. Bruce Peter. Oh, I know Bruce. Yes, okay. Yeah, I saw the ad for his lecture. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I saw the ad for his lecture. Conrail says, do you remember the Edmund Fitzgerald? That name rings a bell, but unfortunately I don't remember what that is. I think that's a ship, right? I don't know. I've heard the name before, so I've probably heard of the ship. I just don't remember it at the time. Let's see. Besides Cunard, what cruise line do you think has the best ships? Well, I don't know anything about cruise lines or ships. All I can tell you is what I think looks nice. And I would have to say that the Disney Cruise Line, their first ships, I think their first 3 ships, look really nice. And I know that their first ship, at least, if not the first 3, were designed to look like ocean liners. They were even given elongated bows to make them look more ocean liner-like. They were given a stepped-back stern to look more like an ocean liner. And even the windows of the top deck were designed like elongated bubbles to make them look like lifeboats from a distance. So that way it would look like an old ocean liner. And that's why it also has 2 funnels on it, is because they're trying to make it look like a classic ocean liner. So I would say that the first Disney Cruise Line ships look pretty cool, but otherwise I don't know anything about cruise ships. I'm not really a cruise ship fan or into cruise ships. So, but that's my best guess. Peter Dibble says, I was at Disneyland last week for the first time in several years, and yeah, it's stupidly complicated now. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculously complicated. And, my friends were saying, oh, Alex, if you come back down to Southern California to visit us, do you want to hang out at Disneyland? And they were shocked to hear me say, I don't know. And they were like, what? But you love Disneyland. I'm like, it's not the same anymore. I told them, like, this isn't the Disneyland I grew up with. This is a very complex Disneyland that nickel and dimes you for every last thing. And it's not, and most of the things that they nickel and dime you for are not worth the money. It's just like, I often tell people, the best example, when I was a kid, if you wanted a churro, you would go up to the churro cart, you order a churro, and they hand make it for you. Well, not hand make it, but they have dough that gets extruded out of a machine, and then they would deep fry that and then cover it with powdered sugar, and it was so good. Well, not powdered sugar, but cinnamon sugar, and it was so good. Now today, they just use a pre-made, like, a pre-made churro that comes frozen, and then they just like heat it in a very complex toaster oven. It doesn't taste terrible, but it is not anywhere near the same quality that their churros used to be when I was a kid. So and back then those made to order churros were $1, but churros today can be $6 to $7. And they're just reheated from a mass packaged box. It's just like, sorry, it's like my blood pressure's going up just thinking about it, because I'm just so like upset. But yeah, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I told my friends, like, I don't know if I want to go to Disneyland when I go down there. It just doesn't seem worth it. Here's an odd question. Russell Cooper says, what would have sunk the Queen Mary in an ordinary voyage? A collision with another ship, I think. Maybe a very large rogue wave. But there isn't much, because the ship sailed about 100 miles south of where Titanic sank to avoid icebergs. Most ships did, actually. And there's no underwater mines in the deep ocean. At least none that can reach the Queen Mary. So really the only thing that could have sunk the Queen Mary is either a very large rogue wave, bigger than the one that struck her in World War II, or it would have been a collision with another ship and caused a hole in the hull that allowed water intrusion. King of Battleships says, why did Cunard choose Long Beach of all the bids to sell Queen Mary? First of all, because Long Beach put up the highest bid. Second of all, because Long Beach was the only bidder that had a plan for how to preserve the ship. So everybody else wanted to majorly alter the ship. I mean, everybody else who wanted to acquire the Queen Mary, they didn't plan to keep the ship original looking. They had major alteration plans in mind. And so even though Long Beach had done a lot to the ship when she came to Long Beach, she's still greatly preserved. Like 50% of the ship is still there to see, So because they were the only ones that really had a plan for preservation, Cunard was like, okay, well, you're the highest bidder, and we like your offer, so we're gonna sell it to you, Mark says, Alex, did you mention the TikTok thing with the fake accounts? Yes, I did at the beginning of the live stream, but I'll say it again. So I'm being impersonated on TikTok and probably other platforms. So I have my own TikTok channel and I have my own social media. So all of my social media information is in the description below, or you can find it on my About page on my YouTube profile. I've been posting some new TikTok videos of my own, but keep in mind that there are people who are literally impersonating me. They are using my logo, my image, everything to pretend that they're me. And they're gaining actually a pretty good following. The one person already has like 22,000 subscribers on TikTok, pretending to be me. So yeah. So just keep an eye out for that if you're on social media. I've heard word that this person's also on Discord, so they're like talking to people on Discord pretending to be me. Keep in mind, folks, I very, very rarely comment on YouTube videos as Alex the Historian. I very rarely talk to people on Discord. I talk to my closest friends on Discord, but I'm not part of any Discord groups. So if you see me in a Discord group, that's not me. I don't interact as Alex the Historian on almost any platform except for Facebook, YouTube, and now TikTok, because I have my own TikTok. But I don't really interact with people as Alex the Historian, because if I need to talk to people or I need to do something else, I'll switch to another account that is not even related to Alex the Historian. So if you see me all over the place, and most importantly, if you hear like offensive stuff being posted from what looks like me, because I'm not saying this person's done that. They haven't done that quite yet. I'm worried that they might, but it's not me. I don't do that. I'm not that kind of person. I don't go out there and insult people and cause trouble. I don't cuss. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. So if you see anything out of the ordinary for my character, that's not me. So I know some people are like, whoa, why would someone do this? They could have a bunch of reasons why. I don't even know. But just keep in mind that if it seems out of character for me, it's probably not me. So, yeah. Just letting everybody know. Chris says, hey Alex, Europe has excellent Wi-Fi. Oh, that's good, because I know, like, we're going to be filming so much stuff that I'm going to need to, like, upload it to the cloud or something, because I'm going to be using up all of my memory storage and stuff. Justin says, any official reaction or assistance from Glasgow in Scotland towards supporting the restoration efforts for the Queen Mary, like consulting or engineering support? As far as I know, no. There's been no talk between the operators of the Queen Mary or folks at Clydebank or Glasgow about the Queen Mary's restoration. I know that the Scottish people are following the Queen Mary's restoration very closely. There's a lot of people that care about the Queen Mary and they want to see what's happening. And so they follow, like, my channel, for instance, because I cover that kind of stuff. But there isn't much back and forth going, so I would say no. History with Kobe says, do you like the gift shop on the Queen Mary as is, or would you rather them sell more quality items that better suit the ship? I mean, it depends on what you consider to be a quality item that suits the ship, because the stuff that they sell now is a lot better than what they were selling in 2020. When I was there in 2020, they were still like heavily focused on postcards, keychains, snow globes, and pens. And I'm like, nobody wants this stuff anymore. They want shot glasses, they want wine glasses, they want tumblers, they want mugs, they want sweaters, they want throw blankets, throw pillows, and then this, and then this year when they reopened the shops, that's exactly what they were selling. They were selling all that stuff. So it, even if it doesn't quite fit the ship, it does fit the modern tastes of consumers. People are looking for practical things that they can use that, come from the places that they visit. But in the 1990s, people bought postcards, people bought pens, people bought all kinds of stuff they didn't really need. But yeah, people today, they like practical things that have logos on it. So, am I satisfied with it? Well, I'm never satisfied with the status quo. I'm always leaning towards, always try to improve, always try to find something better. So I'm not going to say that I'm content with it and they should just keep it as it is. I'm sure that there's always going to be something new that they could add to the shelves that would sell better and do better. So, yeah. Conrail says it's the ship that sank off of Whitefish Point November 10th. Ah, yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, it's a Great Lakes freighter. Yeah, I'm not really that interested in Great Lakes ships, so I don't really know anything about them. History with Kobe. I might make a mini documentary, not a full-fledged documentary, but a mini documentary about Normandy. Maybe. We'll see. It just really depends on how I feel. I usually make videos that if it strikes me in the moment and I feel this need to make the video, I suddenly do it. But I usually don't just pick and choose and go, oh, you know what, I'll make that this week. Because then the video doesn't turn out very good. So the inspiration has to come to me. So, Little Gamer says, what would have happened if the Queen Mary sunk in 1940? I mean, I don't like those kinds of questions because it's so open-ended. It requires me to spend like half an hour explaining everything that would have happened from 1940 till today. And I don't really know how to answer it. So it's, yeah. If you have a more historic question, something that is related to something that actually happened to the Queen Mary, I could answer it better for you. Am I that behind on questions? Kristen Carlban says, what is the best Queen Mary book you have read? The best Queen Mary book I have ever read is this book, RMS Queen Mary, Queen of the Queens by William J. Duncan. It was written in 1969, so just 2 years after the Queen Mary retired. The author that wrote this had interviewed dozens upon dozens of people that were either crew members or passengers of the ship. So he's got first-hand accounts in here, and it's very well done. And because this is a rather rare book, I actually entirely recorded this as an audiobook on my channel. So it's right on the front page of my channel. It's called RMS Queen Mary, Queen of the Queens, full audiobook. And so I have recorded the whole thing as an audiobook, so that way you guys don't have to purchase the book. Yeah. But it's really, really good. At times it even, like, brought tears to my eyes. That's how good it was. Justin says, what happened to the 2 double-decker buses from Britain that came with the ship to Long Beach 1967? So they were used as shuttles to get people from downtown to the Queen Mary. And so they would kind of move back and forth like that, shuttling people to and from downtown. And they were used that way for many years, and then eventually left abandoned in a lot somewhere. I only know where one of them is. I know that both of them still exist, but I only know where one of them is. And one of them is owned by the QMI Restore the Queen nonprofit. So the nonprofit I used to work for. But yeah, one of them is owned by QMI Restore the Queen. And they own it, but they don't currently have the people to restore it. So it's not functional. K4RNA says, hello Alex, I've been sitting here listening, but though I would say hello, I'm working on a presentation for the Queen Mary's radio room. Can I get that brown cookie? It's good to see you. Oh, thank you, Kevin, for following me on TikTok. Leo Ships says, what's the price of the Queen Mary gift shop funneled trash cans? Just remembering off the top of my head, it was over $100 for one of those trash cans. When I first saw them, I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll buy one. And then my friend was like, he said it was like $100-something. I'm like, never mind. Leave it on the shelf. Like, I'm not spending that much money for a trash can. So, but yeah, they're a little over $100. I think they're probably $150. But I don't remember. Moonzer says he got 2 shot glasses from the Queen Mary. Joe B says, hi Alex, do you have a busy Thanksgiving planned? I would say so, yeah. It's just, it's going to be Thanksgiving with my family, possibly some family friends as well. But so far, just with my family. I'll be cooking a turkey. We're also, for some reason, having ham. My sister requested ham, so yeah, I'll be making a turkey. My father will be making ham. I'll be making a side dish. Well, definitely stuffing, for sure. And my father usually makes his special, like, cranberry sauce. It's so addicting. The way he makes it, it's so addicting. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so really good. And then we're hosting it here at my apartment because I have more space. So Kristen, awesome. You were able to get a poster. Nice. Hey Doc, how's it going? It's good to see you here. See you later, Tyler. Okay, so Hostler Productions, thank you so much for the donation. Hostler asks, what are your thoughts on the new movie, The Haunting of the Queen Mary, that came out during Halloween? So let me just preface this by saying there are quite a few movies about ocean liners that are very cheesy, and I do not watch them. I don't watch them because I'm already busy as it is, and if I have the time to watch a movie, I want to watch a movie that I know is going to be good. I'm not going to watch something that I know is cheesy or tacky or not made well or anything like that. So I usually do not watch anything I don't think I will like. But that being said, I had extra time like a week or two ago, and I was like, okay, I have time tonight before I go to bed. I want to watch a movie, and then I saw the ad for that Haunting of Queen Mary, and I thought, oh man, I don't want to see it, but I feel like I have to. So I did watch it, unfortunately, and I despised it just as much as I thought I would despise it. It is... It's a movie, so, I mean, we gotta keep in mind that it's made for entertainment purposes and it's not a documentary, okay? But that being said, everything about what they took when it came to the stories of the ghosts on the ship and the stories of the ship's history was very sensationalized and overdone, and it didn't feel like the movie was respecting the ship. It felt like the movie was objectifying the ship as like a demonic object. And that's the thing, like, if you want to make a movie that's kind of like a haunted house movie, but it's about the Queen Mary, and you want to say, oh, here's some spooky things that are happening on the ship, that's one thing. But the way that they talked about the ship, like it was this living being that was out for blood, I'm like, that crossed the line for me. You know, like I said, I have no problem if they want to say, oh, here's a ship, it's haunted, here's all the spooky stuff that happens, and ooh, it's scary. But they went for the storyline that the ship had its own intelligence, its own mind, and it was after people. It was trying to kill them. The ship itself, you know, it focused its energy into these manifestations that were killing people. That's where I'm like, no, now you just, you know, pooped on the Queen Mary. Like, the director said, oh, you know, like, I really love the ship and I want to showcase, you know, this sentiment, you know, towards it, and I thought, okay, well, that's pretty cool. And then when I actually saw the film, I'm like, this isn't that. They're just objectifying the ship to use it as some kind of, you know, they're trying to make the ship look like the ship is a demon. I don't like that. That's just not for me. So, yeah, I didn't like that at all. I thought the story just was plain goofy. It didn't make sense. And I felt like there was more emphasis put on the scary imagery than there was on the story itself, because the story didn't really make sense. So, yeah, I would just say, like, I knew I wasn't going to like it. I watched it anyway, and I wasn't surprised. So, yeah. History with Kobe says, almost wish the Queen Mary gift shop had more replica items like the Titanic Museum, where they have replica blankets, pillows, china made to look like what was on the ship. I agree. That's something I also wish they had, because I would buy that stuff, honestly. Like, if they sold this entire tea set as a, you know, brand new souvenir version, I would buy it, because I'd rather not use the original stuff, because I'm afraid that one day when I'm washing it, I might drop it and break it, you know? So I'd rather have a replica set that I could use. But, we'll see. I actually plan to see, when I go on the Queen Mary 2, I plan to ask them if I can purchase, like, some old china that they have that they don't need anymore because it's so scratched and whatever. I'll see if they'll let me, if they'll sell that to me so I can use that instead of this all the time. Moonzer, thank you so much for the donation. This is for your UK trip, Alex. Thank you so much, Moonzer. Doc says, I highly recommend Alex's reading of the Queen Mary book on his channel. It's wonderful, such a great book, and our guy here is so talented. Oh, thank you so much. That's nice. K. Smith says, are you familiar with the book RMSQM, The World's Favorite Liner by David Ellery? They say it's very good. I've heard of it, and David Ellery, in fact, was recently redoing the book, and he actually interviewed me, the author, David Ellery. He contacted me several months ago while he was working on the book. And he said, "Hey, I'm redoing this book. I'd like to do a section with some interviews with some people." So he interviewed me for the book. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm gonna eventually buy the book. Right now I've got things to buy. I got Christmas presents to buy for people, but I'm gonna see if like my family could get that for me for Christmas, that book. But yeah, supposedly I'm in the book. So let's see. King of Battleships says, "I don't know how the Queen Mary managed to beat Normandy, because Queen Mary was only 0.715 knots faster at best. That's a small difference, would not be noticeable." Actually, King of Battleships, it would be hugely noticeable. Let me put it this way. Let's put it this way, okay? Let's say I'm going to race you down the street, right? So let's say that they tell me, or they say, "Oh, you know, King of Battleships race, they can run at, I don't know, let's say 5 miles per hour." I'm sure that's a walk, but so let's just say 5 miles per hour, right? And then they say, "But Alex can run 4.75 miles per hour," right? So that might not look like much. It might look like I'm right there with you, you know, running right beside you. But only at first, only when the race starts. By the time that King of Battleships would reach the end of the finish line, let's say a kilometer away, I would actually be a significant distance behind. So let's put it this way. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but they time how long it took the ships to go from Bishop's Rock or Bishop's Point off the coast of England to the what was it called? The light ship just outside New York. There was a light ship just outside New York that represented the end of the race, right? The Queen Mary came in hours before Normandy's time. So even though it looks like it's just a tiny bit and you wouldn't notice a difference, you would actually. Because if you were to have flown to New York ahead of time and looked down from your plane, you would have seen Queen Mary on one side of the horizon and you would have seen Normandy on the other side of the horizon. A distance of, you know, several hundred miles. And therefore several hours away. So yeah, that's the thing. When you're crossing 3,000 miles of ocean, that little bit of knots makes a huge difference. A huge difference. So yeah. Let's see. Expedition Steve is here. How is it going, Steve? Hey, Alex just got on, watching with my brother and eating fish and chips. Oh, I love fish and chips. Ozzy says, "How is Alex's weather today?" It's kind of in between overcast and sunny. It's kind of weird. It's cold, which I like, so it's nice. Moonzer says, "I plan to ask the Queen Mary staff if I can go into the storage room and get some things. I don't think they would let you." Kristen says, "Where did you get the Queen Mary that's sitting next to you? I would love to have that." Well, if you mean this, that's the Titanic, but that poster is the Queen Mary, and you can actually get that on eBay. So you would just look up Queen Mary cutaway poster, and they sell a poster that's 17... No. I think it's 11 inches by 30 inches. Yeah, 11 inches by 31 inches. And yeah, that's the poster. So you can buy that off of eBay, and you can buy the frame separately on Amazon. Yes, Kevin says Lightship Nantucket. Yes, that's it. Lightship Nantucket. No, yeah, no, wait. King of Battleships is right. Ambrose Lightship. Ambrose Lightship was the one. Yeah, because it would go from Bishop's Rock to the Ambrose Lightship. Mark says, when I have sailed with Cunard, I acquired beautiful service china, creamers, spoons, condiment ramekins for cream jam, teacups, saucers, etc. They are all Wedgwood with Cunard crest. Beautiful. Really? Like, so is that... so when you say that you acquired it, did they sell it in the gift shop? Or was that something that you had to ask them, like, hey, can I purchase used stuff? Because I wasn't sure if they sold it in their gift shop. I don't see anything about it online. And so I was kind of wondering, like, where do I get it? Because I know some people have that stuff. So I'd like to buy it. I want to know if they have it in a gift shop or if I have to ask them for it. You know, so let me know, because I have no idea. Hello, Mark. Good to see you, Geshmek. Moonzer says, Alex, if you work there, you may get some special privileges to get some stuff. I don't think that's accurate, no. You can't just steal things and say, oh, it's because I work here. Like, you work any job and you take things without permission, especially without paying for it, you could not only get fired, but arrested. So I don't think so. I would be very careful, because you shouldn't take things from the ship. And morally speaking, you shouldn't take things anyway, because the ship, people have been taking stuff from the Queen Mary for decades. Literally, just taking it right off the ship and sneaking it out of there. And look at what the ship looks like now. There's a reason why the Queen Mary is in such dire straits. It's not just because of the neglect, but it's also because people just took things without permission and just took things over the course of 50 some odd years. And now the ship doesn't even have all its artifacts. You know that there are all kinds of artworks that are missing parts to it because people just stole it, just took it. So I would actually beg everyone who's watching, if you have the opportunity to take something from the Queen Mary, please don't do it. Please. Because already too much stuff has been taken. I mean, you know, Steve from the Blue Ribbon, he was telling me one time, you know, when he worked there was a box of extra, like, tissues and napkins and stuff like that, right? And it was just disposable tissues. But there was a whole box of it, and you know, and it was just abandoned there. And so people were allowed to take some home with them, like take a box home. But then one day he came into work and the whole box was gone. Someone just grabbed the whole box and took it. And so there are no more of those left on the ship. Like, so if they wanted to create a display and use some original products of the Queen Mary in the display, they can't, because it's gone. So yeah, I would beg everybody, if you see stuff and you have the opportunity to snatch it and take it with you, please don't. Just don't. Like, you know, it's too much has been taken from the Queen Mary over the years. So I know I wouldn't. If I saw something and nobody else was looking and I could easily pick it up and take it, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. I try to hide it, though, so that way nobody else could take it. That's for sure. Peden says, Alex, if you could choose another ship to get a digital recreation in the style of Titanic Honor and Glory, what ship would you choose? Well, the Queen Mary, for sure, because some people are working on it, but I would like to see one done about the Queen Mary, because The Queen Mary today looks very different than she did in 1936. There's a lot of changes. So I would have liked to see the Queen Mary in 1936. So I'm hoping someone will eventually do that. I know someone's working on the Normandy, and it looks pretty cool. I was like, whoa. But yeah, that's about it. Honestly, that's it. Queen Mary and Normandy. Someone's also working on Queen Elizabeth as well, but that might be abandoned. King of Battleship says, was the Queen Mary really worn out by the end of her career? No. That is a common misconception about the Queen Mary. It's often repeated on videos and stuff like that, oh, the Queen Mary was so rotted and so worn out and stuff by the end of her career that, there's even like this thing where like people were saying that when they removed the funnels from the Queen Mary, they were so rotten that the paint was the only thing keeping the funnels upright, and that you could put a finger through the steel. It's not true. That is not true whatsoever. For one thing, if it was so rotten that you could put a finger through it, how is it that the Queen Mary managed to sail halfway around the world, around the dangerous Cape Horn, and those funnels didn't collapse? Why? And the other thing too is like, the reason why that story is said is because when they removed the funnels from the Queen Mary, the funnels collapsed as they sat on the dock. Well, there's a reason for that. The funnels are only just sheets, like rings of steel sheets. They're not really like supported by anything. What keeps them in their shape is when they're stacked together that way, because they're sections. They're stacked together, and then the funnel stays, or the ropes, the funnel stays keep them pulled outward like that, and it keeps the shape of the funnel. But when you remove that structure, there's nothing to hold them up. So if you remove them, what happened was they attached anchor points to the rings, and as they pulled the rings up, there was nothing to prevent them from squishing into themselves. So the rings went like that as the crane pulled them up, and then it set them down on the dock, and then the rings would just kind of collapse and flatten out. And so they go, oh, it was so rotten that's why it did that. But that's not the truth. They were perfectly fine. It's just that they're not designed to sit upright without support. They need external support. So that's one of the things that a lot of people get wrong about the Queen Mary, as well as the structure of the ship was amazing. They had a Navy admiral was actually in the dry dock with the Queen Mary, and he was looking at it, and he said, he turned to another person, I think he was like the dock manager, but he said, in all my years of inspecting ships of this age or even older, he's like, this ship is in the best condition I've ever seen a ship after 30 years at sea, especially having gone through a world war. So it surprised a lot of people. The Queen Mary was in fantastic shape and very strong. And even to this day, most of her steel plates and everything are well over an inch thick, which you don't normally see. I mean, look at the battleships today that we have in the United States that are currently undergoing dry dock. They started off with steel plates that were several inches thick, and now some of them don't even have those plates. The plates have just rotted away. But the Queen Mary doesn't have that problem. The plates are all still very thick and they're still there. So the Queen Mary, even to this day, is in actually very good structural shape. It's just that, there's a lot of people that go out there and they see one little thing and they go, oh, the whole ship looks like that. And it's like, no, that's, So yeah, I just had to set that record straight because that's a common misconception about the Queen Mary. Let's see. Yeah, Nantucket was only there for a short period, but yeah, the one that Queen Mary would sail up to was the what's it called again? I forgot the name already. Ambrose Lightship. King of Battleship says, I found an article that said Queen Mary was old and tired and that her machinery was ancient and resembled laser work. That's all opinion. So that's like someone looking, that's like someone looking under the hood of a vintage car and going, oh, that looks ancient, that looks old. One person will misinterpret that and go, oh, that means that the engine looks like it's on its last legs. But that's not necessarily what that person means. Something can be old and still be in good condition. So, but the thing is that there are lots of documentation that say that Queen Mary's machinery was all in very good shape. Now, not all of it was in very good shape, but a lot of it was in very good shape. It's hard to say because it's on a specific base by base thing. There was like one or two turbines in the turbo generator room that were not in good condition. The rest were fine. There were some boilers that needed replacing, but the others were fine. It's the same thing with her lifeboats. In 1966, the Queen Mary received... No, 65, I'm sorry. In 1965, the Queen Mary had some of her lifeboats replaced just before going out of service. And that's because it was weird. Some of the lifeboats were in bad condition and needed to be replaced, but the rest of them were in fine condition and could easily keep going. So, it's just that, people see one thing and then they consider that the whole structure. And they go, oh, that's the whole of Queen Mary. And it's not, So... Jeffrey says, Alex, did you cut down the number of tea times you're doing? Not on purpose, no. But yes. So, it's just that I've been more busy with the channel, trying to produce videos for the channel, and, look at these live streams. I started at 1 p.m., it's 3:03 now, so it's literally been 2 hours. It took me from noon to 1 to set up the live stream, and then I'm on the live stream from 1 to 3, so already it's been 3 hours. And then it'll take me a half an hour to set everything, unplug everything, put everything away, and then wash all this, and then, yeah. So it's in total, it's going to be 3.5 hours. Especially if I'm on here for another 30 minutes, that's 4 hours. So that's 4 hours out of my day that I can't work on something. So a long time ago, when I was doing 2 of these tea times a week, I decided to cut it down to 1 tea time a week because I literally didn't have time to work on videos. So these tea times literally take up my entire day. So yeah, so but other than that, I was supposed to do a tea time last week, I didn't do one. So that was an accident. I meant to, but I had to work on a video, so I couldn't take the time to do a tea time. So yeah, I've cut down on it, but not always on purpose. Sometimes it just happens accidentally that way. But, King of Battleship says, so basically what Alex just said is that the Queen Mary was in such good condition that when she retired, she could have sailed for decades. Well, she would have needed a major refurbishment. When a ship reaches 20 years... it needs major overhauls to do upgrades, to maybe change out machinery, swap out parts, things like that. The Queen Mary, to my knowledge, didn't quite get that. She did have an overhaul at the end of the war, which was major changes, but in terms of machinery, she had all the same machinery. So, to my knowledge, the Queen Mary actually went 31 years with the exact same machinery, without any major replacements done to it. So, she was 10 years overdue for some good machinery changes. I mean, look at QE2. QE2 went about 20 years. Yeah, because it happened in 89 or 87. Anyway, halfway through QE2's time at sea, she got re-engined. So they removed the steam turbine engines and then replaced them with diesel-electric propulsion. And so that often happens with ships. When they reach 20 years of age, they undergo a major overhaul, which oftentimes changes up the machinery. Queen Mary didn't get that, to my knowledge. She did have things added and taken away over the years, but not a major overhaul like that. So I think that she probably could have gone another 10 years before an overhaul was unquestionably necessary. But even then, the 70s were approaching. The early 70s had had the fuel crisis. So there was the fuel crisis of the early 70s. The Queen Mary was already not doing very well with fuel efficiency and air quality standards. So by the time, it turned the year 1970, she would have needed new engines anyway. But anyway, I think the point I'm trying to make is that, hypothetically speaking, if the world of the year 1960 had continued on for another 15 years or 20 years, yes, I think the Queen Mary could have lasted through it just fine. But the problem was that the world was changing rapidly from 1960 to 1970. Just such a rapid change that the Queen Mary, no matter which way you spin it, she just wouldn't have lasted through it. Just wouldn't have. There was always something that would have stopped her. So it's really complicated, and I'm trying to make it simple to understand, but it is a very complex situation that, really, I could be here for like half an hour talking about it. But yeah, that's the best way I can summarize it, I think. But let's see. Lindsay says, Alex, can you do a video on Queen Mary's Bridge? Eventually, yes. Not a dedicated video, because I don't have enough to talk about for the bridge. But I will feature it in a video. Yeah. Justin says, I was going to ask you, are they making a fully digitized model of the Queen Mary deck by deck like they have done at Honor and Glory for Titanic? That would be wonderful to experience on board. Some people are doing something similar, but not quite that detailed. No. Some people have made Roblox versions of the Queen Mary. Some people have made Minecraft versions of the Queen Mary. And some people are making Unreal Engine versions of the Queen Mary. But none of them are completed, and none of them are quite to the detail that Honor and Glory has gone for their Titanic project. Let's see. Alright, folks, well, I think I'm going to call that the end of the live stream because I'm tired. This seat is hurting. Yeah, so this week I think will be a Queen Mary video, and then I'm going to try to start working on a non-Queen Mary ocean liner video after that. So I'm going to try to stuff a bunch of videos into the rest of this month. Please, support the channel in the sense that, like, if I put out a video, watch it, give it a like, post a comment down below, that kind of thing. That really helps for that specific video. Like the video I put out recently was the Wellington Avalanche train disaster. That's the newest video that's out. Hasn't gotten very many views. It's really good. I think you guys would love it. And if you do watch it, hit the like button, and post a comment. That really helps that video out. So, yeah, anyway, that's that for now. And yeah, I will see you next week. All right, folks. Bye-bye.